Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the northwest, ending with Team 2 in the southeast. Starting off with Team 1, southernmost player in Imperial Gray. It is Yoji going first line as an Aeon. He is a 2,000 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 1. To his north, we have in Russ Deathlock going first line as a UEF. He is an 1100. And to his east, we have in Chevy Crimson Yellow V going first land. He is a 1400 as a Cyber. Very blending into the environment. Hopefully I don't miss him because, of course, this map has a lot of red in it. To his north, we have the Barbie Pink player of Psycho Ad going first line as another Aeon here for Team 1. He is, again, a 1800, and the northwesternmost player on Team 1 also in pink. It is Laddish Red Pink. We have Judica 1972 Noob going first line as an Aeon. He is a 1900. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 3 Aeon, 1 Cyber, and 1 UEF, which means Team 1 is lacking Seraphim technology. Starting off with Team 2's northeasternmost player in Regal Purple, we have Rayla going first line as a Cybran, a 2100. Not only are they the highest rated player on their team, but they're also the highest rated player of the game. To his south in not Barbie Pink, but Pac-Man Yellow, we have RGB VCMG going first line as a Cybran as a 1200. In Ruby Red, to his west, another Cybran here for Team 2. It is Mutulal going first line in Ruby Red. He is a 1300. In Orange, the color orange to the southeast, we have Legend Lord 2 moving to the west. He is a Seraphim, the one and only in the entire game. And again, he is going as a 1600 first land. And last but not least, for Team 2 in the southeastern corner of the map is the 2000 rated player of Dreamer Lazy going first land, most likely second air with that kind of configuration. And again, he is going as a UEF here in this game. And for Team 2 side of the map, they have 1 UEF. That is Dreamer Lazy, 3 Cybrans, and 1 Seraphim, which means Team 2 lacks Aeon technology. And again, Team 1 lacks Seraphim technology. So for 10 players on the map, 5 on each team, how much mass do they have to pick up? It looks like a lot. Is it a lot? It is 40,000 reclaim. And that makes the math really, really easy. 40 divided by 10 is 4. That is 4,000 mass per player to scoop up. And in terms of mass points, there's not really a whole lot. The only notable position on this game for mass in terms of the mechs is this quad mechs right here. And that's going to be under the control of the southern and northern players here for Team 1 and Team 2 Psychoad. And Legend are going to be able to grab that position up. Besides that, I guess there's another quad mechs position right here in the middle of the map that may or may not be shared by players. May or may not. We'll see. Then a couple of dual twin mexes in the northeast, but not really a whole lot of mass, especially in the middle of the map. A lot of it is in reclaim. So our players very much are going to be highly aggressive and going after everything they can. I would not be surprised to see multiple players go for transport engineers, getting them, shoving them to the other side of the map, grabbing the reclaim, trying to prevent their other team or the other team from trying to grab their mass. Is going to be very much fighting over who gets to the reclaim first and who gets the upgrades first, because the faster you get upgrades, the more mass you produce, the more mass you produce, the more upgrades you get, more mass you produce. Or you could just go for mass fab farms, Rascoms, whatever you may like. And with that out of the way, of course, let's see where our players are going. We do see everybody on Team 1 has left their main bases. Trying to account for all of the players. I only see 4 of... Oh, no, excuse me, he's hiding. Judica in the northwestern corner of the map is still in his main base, so almost everybody on Team 1 has left. Team 2, it's exactly the same story. The rearguard air player of Dreamer has not left their base. We probably will see them at the front lines at some point, but they want their comms in bases to go for just engineering assistance, get those engineers and transports laden and sent off. Dreamer Lazy sending off his first group of engineers to the north. We do see a transport outbound here from that air player as well in the northwest here for Team 1. That is that Chariot loaded with some engineers. Going to drop it here first and then going to continue on eastward. So both of these players, actually looks like there's another transport from Psychoad. So both of the pink players gone for the first air facility for those engineers. A second transport, actually this one was outbound from Rayla. This one Going to the west here for Dreamer Laser. Going over here, trying to, again, aggressively drop on his opponent. A lot of players have the exact same idea. Transports with engineers. It cuts down on travel time. Yes, it's a little bit more dangerous because they can be shot out of the sky, but there's not really a lot of interceptors around the map. We see another transport with engineers outbound from Legend Lore. What is that, 3 transports per team? So 6 of them with engineers, and I think all of them landed safely so far, which is very rare. Usually engineers do not land safely, at least all of them don't. We do see, of course, going to be a land fight in the northwest. Transport does drop. Engineers have to be given orders sooner rather than later. Team 2's Rayla is going to have that advantage in the land fight if it progresses. A couple of engineers drop, or at least moving a little bit closer with a nice T1P to try to isolate this position and forced Rayla to retreat. The PD, I think that's under control of Psycho Ad. Only able to get one of the facilities, but that's better than nothing. Again, more and more going to be built out of that range. A similar story in the west here for Team 1's Yoji going after Dreamer Lazy spam facilities. But we do see the comm of Yoji coming in to assist his units, so that will really not go in Team 2's favor, only in Team 1's, unless they can get a comm on the front line sooner rather than later. But unfortunately, they're busy going for a couple of Team 1 facilities. Transport with nothing on it, just going back to his main base. That is Team 2's. That would make sense why it's going that way. Going to probably pick up the next set of engineers. Probably would drop them. Probably would either drop them right here, or maybe drop one right there, and then maybe drop the rest back here. Try to get some annoying facilities online to draw Yoji's attention away from this fight, or at least continue to, put emphasis, put more units on that corner of the map, and allow Legend Lord to either force him to retreat or completely encapsulate him and force him to be transported off or killed off, essentially isolating him in the southwestern corner. Same similar situation can occur for Team 1. We do see Rayla moving into that northeastern position. Again, exactly the same things happening for the same position players. And everybody going for transports, essentially. Everybody going for the same places on the map. Team 2 has started the first upgrade of the game, and it's Mutulao with a gun upgrade. He is a Cybran, giving him a decent more range. But Deathlock has already completed his upgrade, so he's gone gun first. But beating out his opponents, I don't see anybody else that is standing still long enough to support a gun. Yeah, I think those are the first 2 upgrades of the game. And besides that, I mean, again, very much unfolding the same way for the same teams on the opposite sides of the map. We're starting to see that middle line start to form exactly where I expected to, literally along the middle axis or the cut axis along the map. It's probably cut down the middle here, but so you can probably cut it down that way as well. Starting T2 says Legend Lore, or at least the automated message in chat does. So going to be able to not only keep that beachhead, but expand upon it. He is going to be facing that gun come with Deathlock, so he definitely needs those Uthashalas online. Yoji almost dealt with the forces outbound from Dreamer Lazy, and has now expunged Team 2's forces in that section of the map. Same, again, exact same story here for Rayla. Both high-rated players. We have 2,100, 2,000, another 2,000 for Team 2. So, and we have a 19 and an 1,800. We have really high-rated players. A couple of Joes in there. We have 1,100 to 1,400, but it's a decent spattering, decent kind of mix of both Joe and Pro. And again, they're all in the similar positions, so it's not really one player is favored over the other in terms of positioning. It's very much even with the map as it is. You can't have it 100% perfect, of course. There is no such thing, or I don't believe in such thing as a perfectly balanced game. I am only of the opinion of you can have it close to perfect, but never that 100% perfect. In the East, we see RGB going for his gun upgrade. It is opponent of Yellow. Go for it. No. And neither does Psycho Ad. Psycho Ad now going for his gun upgrade. We'll literally have to speak of the devil and he'll appear. That is that upgrade started here for Team 1 Psycho Ad. And Deathlock, he could move a little bit more south. But we do see a nice little grouping up here for both Mutulao and Legend Lore, trying to just really much harass Yoji. Yoji's not going to be kicked out of this position, especially with his T1 PD. He'll probably go for a gun upgrade shortly just to, again, secure that position a lot better. We do see some units back in the southwestern corner here for Legend Lore. Again, going to try to harass Team 1's Yoji as much as possible. Gunship online, going to lock that down very easily. And we do see Deathlock using that gun upgrade very effectively. We'll give Team 2's Legend Lord enough time to build some more PD. Again, start to either cut off any sort of reinforcement supply lines here for Yoji, or, I mean, Yoji will break through or Deathlock will break through. I don't think so, given the current unit standings. There's a lot of units over here that could easily move westward. There isn't really a lot of attack vectors outbound here from Yellow V in the north, or outbound from Psycho. We had a huge grouping of units, both for Rayla and RGB. I'd love this to be transferred over to most likely RGB because he is on that front line. He'll probably join those forces once he's done with that gun upgrade. He might go for stealth as well, but I would like to see Rayla hand those over so that he can micro those a lot better. That range upgrade is progressing rather nicely at 33% online so far, at least completed speed. Almost done here for Yoji. Already has the range. Will he go for advanced, or will he just stick with the standard gun / range? Because he's just going to stick with the standard for right now. He is taking a little bit of a battering, but again, still in the green, so still perfectly fine. Doesn't have any veterancy yet, but is pretty close to his first star. And Deathlock does have his first star, just barely. And veterancy for Legend Lord is non-existent. But he is getting a lot of PD. Probably should get a shield. Is getting some flak as well. Love to see that. We are seeing a little bit of a really interesting incursion here, using the mountain as cover to be able to go around. Unfortunately, the PD would still be able to hit him pretty nicely, and because all the units are lined up one by one, it makes the attack vector not really worth it. You really want to spread your units out as wide, not necessarily as wide as you can, but you know, wider is definitely better than like thin line kind of thing. Stealth upgrade almost done here for Mutu Lao. Might go for Nano, possibly. Oh, yep, does go for Nano. The only issue I have with this is he is pretty far forward. He's getting a lot of engineering support from his Manti. Mantises? Probably Manti. Maybe Mantises. I don't know. It's one or the other. Anyway. The only thing I don't like about this, he does have gun and stealth. Deathlock is nearby. He does have some units building up here for him, but I don't know if it's... I feel like the Nano is probably a little bit too far forward. Probably should have put it underneath the PD coverage, and he would have been perfectly fine. In the north, I say the first big land battle does occur. RGB getting some PD to assist the said land battle. Team 1's Yellow V facing off against his namesake's color, that being yellow and Pac-Man yellow being RGB. I feel like RGB should be red and yellow should be yellow, but that's just me. You know, you have a red, green, blue, violet, cyan, magenta, green. No, what's the red, green, blue, violet, cyan, magenta, and gold, maybe? I don't know what the other G would be in that name. But anyway, we see a ton of units now just starting to crush on top of Yellow's units and his hit points. His hit points are really... Hey, his hit points match his name. They are in the Yellow sub 50%. He does have a tickle cannon online, a Cerberus PD, but there are a lot more Mantis still online. RGB, if he wants to kill off Yellow, this is the time he needs to push, and go after that Comet. Looks like RGB is just going to hold position and allow Yellow to escape. This does, of course, one of two things. One, it doesn't give an entire base of eco over another player, and two, it gives more APM to Team 1. So it is definitely a double-edged sword, but at this stage in the game, it's a little bit better to have another player to fight versus having a player that has dual eco. We do see some Spectre gunships going after Mutala's commander, drops him into the red, and decides to flee. There's only interceptors online. Team 1 does have some swift wins. Maybe he thought there was a lot, maybe ASFs maybe? T3 Air is online and is producing ASFs as we speak. That's a different color. That's for Dream Malaysia. It looks like Bhutan will escape. I mean, heavily damaged, but it's still perfectly fine. But Team 1's dealing with another issue here. We have some units just constantly pushing forward here for Team 2's this Legend Lord, almost getting into the main production facilities of both Deathlock and Yoji, at least some of the facilities over here. He has, I think, his main facility over here. But in terms of production, not necessarily in terms of upgrades or his actual base. We do see in the north again more building up here for Yellow. Psycho Ad making a nice little beachhead here. Has nothing here, but he's there, so better than nothing. Gun and gun speed / range is done. Hasn't gone for advanced yet. Missile launcher outbound here for Rayla, building up some missiles. That has been spotted by Team 1, so probably should launch that sooner rather than later. Can go after some T2 Mechs. This building needs to get some TMD up here. I think Rayla wants to launch a missile at each of the T2 Mechs. And it looks like he will drop an engineer to build that TMD. There is the TMD immediately. Team 2 needs to launch, and the launching of the missiles has commenced. Again, they're splitting off, going into all of those mechs, trying to build it as fast as possible. It will build before all of the missiles connect, but it looks like some of them will at a minimum. Will this one be grabbed? No, it won't. Grabs this one, and it will grab the other one that was outbound. But 2 out of 4, that's pretty good, especially because Team 1 knew about, or barely found out about it. So response time was really good here for Psychoad. Wasn't able to save everything, but it's better than losing everything. You'd rather lose something than lose everything. That's my opinion of it. 2 out of 4 is better than 4 out of 4. So definitely a better percentage here for Psychoad versus Rayla. But Rayla still got 2 mixes killed off, so it's definitely, again, not perfect for them, but still better than 0 out of 4. So anybody would take that trade day of the week. We do see some ASFs over top here for Team 1. Just kind of running around. Not ASF, spy plane on. Looks like Team 1 has a little bit better handle on the ASF production so far. Judica sitting at 9, and Dreamer Lazy sitting at 4. So that's, again, definitely favoring Team 1. But again, 14 and a half, 15 minutes. Having 5 less ASF than your opponent isn't that much of an issue. Unless you're going for gunship, then it is definitely a bigger issue. At least T3 gunships. T2 gunships, it's not really that great. Because, I mean, they die almost instantaneously against ASF, so it's not really worth it. I like the amount of swift wins here for Yoji. Not really focusing on air production, but does have enough to be able to respond to any sort of incursions from Team 2. And instances and inconveniences. I don't know, another IN word. 15 and a half minutes. And again, that middle line stays relatively the same. I'd say a little bit favoring Team 2 ever so slightly on the map percentage of the map. In terms of mass, Team 2 is winning the mass game by about 35, 40 mass per second. So again, not really a huge lead. That's about 8 to 10 mass. That's actually 8 or so mass per player ahead of the opponent, which again, if the trend continues, it's bad, but as of right now, it's fine. Especially because Team 2 is doing most of the attacking, which means the mass is staying on Team 1's side of the map, which means they're going to have a better percentage of the reclaim, at least you would think they would. Team 2 sitting at 44,000, Team 1 at 31,000. We do see some missile launchers over here to the east just harassing this position. And because Legend Bar is Seraphim, he can go for those T2 cruisers that have missile capabilities on board. And of course, their main job is AA, but they have another secondary job as a missile launcher. They're very, very effective, and they're very much, quote-unquote, stole the technology or the tactics from the UEF when they bombed the Earth during that opening cutscene of Forged Alliance, which, by the way, that opening cutscene is, I think it's really good. Definitely one of the inspirations behind the phrase that I use that if there are no Seraphim in the game, it's, apologies to those who are late but make grand entrances. Definitely a grand entrance when you just see a giant portal with a bunch of bombers coming in and just annihilating everything. It's definitely brutal, but definitely one of those very, very ostentatious. They like to make a stand, or they like to make an impression. And that they did. Zappers Online dealing with those cyber missiles. I love to see the Zappers, of course, because they have the best range in terms of TMD. Of course, these cyber missile launchers, because they split when they're fired upon. Still, some damage is better than nothing. And slowly whittling away at your opponent's shield is definitely better than not doing any work at all. Brass coming online here for Rayla in the water. For being a red map, in terms of maybe a red desert, decent amount of water, so it's not devoid of humidity. Devoid of no, I'd say humidity because there is water, but just devoid of water, so players can hide underneath the surfaces trying to be a little sneaky. But again, Cyberns would be the only ones that would be that much in favor of, because they have the torpedo capability on board those Cybern comms. So that's really the only thing that you could really use a Cybern comm in the water. I mean, you can build RAS and sit there and all that stuff, But being able to physically attack your opponent, you can reclaim, but I don't count that as attacking. That's just reclaiming, regardless if that unit is dead or not, or unit or structure is destroyed or not. It's still reclaiming. But Team 2 just slowly collapsing on Yoji's position. Looks like most likely Yoji got a transport and just ferried himself over. That transport is over here, so that definitely would make sense. And we are approaching the 20-minute mark of the game, and no one, knock on wood, has died yet. So it's definitely going to, of course, be one of those games that defies the statistic that normally somebody dies before 20 minutes. And most, if not every, well, almost every single game has somebody die before 30. There are those rare games that players don't die before 30 minutes, but a huge, I'd say 90+%, somebody dies before 30 minutes. It's just a thing that happens. And that's not counting 1v1 games, because if the other player, if you're playing a 1v1 game and one player dies, that's game over anyways. So I don't really count those. I mean, you can, but it's just one of those situations where, I mean, the game would end regardless if you killed them at 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 50 minutes, versus in this scenario where if a player dies at the end of the match, it still continues. In the southwest, we do see those Ilshis collapsing onto these T1 and T2 PD positions and some volcanoes. They're targeting the volcanoes, which begs the question, yes, they are. The cruisers are online. Legendlore spammed up that T2 naval headquarters and is just building missile launcher capable cruisers. There are a decent amount of volcanoes here. Volcanoes, just like any other TMD, are not perfect, and they can't cover everything. If there's enough inbound missile threat, it won't deflect or divert incoming missiles. It'll only do so much. Or all of the missiles, it'll do some of them, but not all of them. I do like this little deceiver over here in the west here for Legend Lore. Team 1 can't see him on radar if they had radar nearby, which, I mean, maybe this one would pick him up. No, it's out of range. Do they not have a T2? Oh, it's over there, but that's, again, over there, not down here. So Team 1 definitely needs to get some more radar online. At least in the east for Team 2, they have another radar system. Don't like how close it is to the edge of the water. I would have probably put it up here so it can't be attacked by units coming into the water, from the water, but better than nothing. We do see those Cybrans with their bricks in the water here for Rayla going after Psychoad's commander. He's on an upgrade. He's about to finish it. Probably advanced range or shield, if I were to guess. Wouldn't be anything else other than that. And that is the shield going. Oh, nope. Looks like he stopped. He's going to start going for advanced range, but does stop moving. Team 2's RGB on the front line. 21 minutes on the clock. And that army is being decimated here. The only thing he has to contend with are the tickle cannons. He's standing there taking a lot of shots, though. Probably should start retreating. He does have nano, though 102 hit points a second is a chunk of hit points to regen. Seraphim, of course, can regen more, but again, 102 is a lot better than the 60 that the UEF usually get. I mean, they can get up with veterancy, but I mean, again, when you're regenning double the amount of hit points per second, it makes a huge difference in whether or not you survive an encounter or not. But there are some bricks starting to be produced here by Team 1's Starry Crimson player of yellow. And RGB still going to just barrel on forward, overcharging when he can, kills off half the hit points on board the brick. We do see some ASF coverage, of course, because Team 1 is building a decent amount of restorers. It is not necessarily dangerous to go for a bunch of restorers. I mean, when you have the air, going for gunships isn't that bad of a deal, but because of the fact that the restorers also have AA and they're chonky, 6,000 hit points, versus, of course, the 2,200 that are on a standard ASF, definitely worth the price, especially because you can see it just punches up its weight class with AA missiles on board. They are the best AA gunship in the game. And I mean, all gunships, at least the T3, have AA. The broadsword has the worst. The Whaler's kind of a nice in-between where it's a little bit, I think it favors the ground a tiny bit more, if I remember correctly. It might actually be dead even, I can't remember. And then, of course, the Restorers have the best AA on board. And there are a decent amount of them. The only downside is if they're going after ground targets, not unless you have a lot of them, not really worth it because they just do not necessarily insignificant, but just not a lot of damage. It's almost not even worth it. I might as well go for Spectre gunships and pump way more of those out for the price of those Restorers and do more damage that way. They're weaker, but If we're just talking about straight DPS, Spectres are the way to go for air-to-ground weapons, in terms of Aeon at least. And not really a whole lot at this point in the game. I'm just going to cover what's going on between both teams. Team 1, 5 players left. Team 2, also 5 players left. No one has died so far. Team 2 sitting at about 1.2k mass income. Team 2 at 1. Team 1 at 1.1. Team 2 at 1.2. So, I mean, Team 2 is winning by a little bit, but again, that margin of how much they're leading by isn't really that big. If it was 1.6, 1.5, then we're starting to talk about dangerous amounts of income per second. But when it's only that much, it's not that much of a hill to climb. It's probably, what, couple T3 mexes, and that's it. And in terms of map control, Team 2 definitely in the lead. Team 2's actually walled off a section of it because you're not coming in from that angle. And it actually isolates any units inbound. No, you can't climb that cliffside there. Of course, you can just destroy the wall sections. You can also do that. But it really limits the maneuverability of the units, forcing them essentially into a kill box, making it easier for Team 2 to engage those units. And Team 2, again, trying to isolate this southwestern corner of them, and has done a very good job of it between the sniper bots, the cruisers, the PD that's been online for a while, essentially just suffocating Yoji in this position. He has to probably cut bait and leave because he's not really going to get anything from it. He is getting some mass from these mexes over here, but not really a whole lot. I do love the radar, though, just sitting in the corner because it's providing radar in case some strat bombers or gunships come in from that direction. And then if it's a gunship, it'll usually be shot down or destroyed. So you'll kind of nice little early warning system, essentially what it is. Units break through the wall and push their way into Muchala's forces. He has a decent amount of rhinos, but not really any T3 units. He does have an Otham coming in to assist him, but he has gun and nano. And he's facing off against Titans that fire very, very quickly. Overcharge kills off almost one shot. He took a little bit of damage before, but essentially one shot. A couple of the Percys also here for Deathlock. Deathlock definitely going to be wanting to keep those online as much as possible. That's going to be his way to go after the Calm. But the Calm, once he deals with the Titans, that's it. Overcharge misses and goes wild. Definitely not the best use of an overcharge. That probably means that it's on auto, not on manual. If I remember correctly, if you use the overcharge on manual, it regens twice as fast, I believe. I might be wrong about that, but I think I saw one of those tips or whatever when you load into a match or something about if you use manual, it's twice as fast or something. Anyway, Corsairs over top going after the Monkey. The Monkey zeroes in on RGB's commander, and I don't think RGB is going to escape from this. There he goes. Team 2 loses their first player of the game at 25 minutes. Tons of restorers chewing into those ASFs that come in to help, and then here come the interceptors, and those are there. Well, were there, I should say. Fireplanes moving in to get some intel operations going on. I love the just bunch of spy planes all at once. Ensures that you get some sort of intel on the other side of the map, some sort of vision, all that stuff. Because just sending one or two in it at a time doesn't really do a whole lot, because I mean, there's some AA most likely online by now, and it can really shut down some spy planes. But sending a bunch in all at a time ensures something gets through at some point. But Team 2 starting to lose that map control, as I mentioned, from the Monkey being escorted by the horde of restorers. We're talking about 50 restorers online, and in just this ball, we have 42 of them, so 8 of them are missing. And that is a lot of firepower. I mean, we're starting to get crazy levels of air to ground. Again, even though I say, and I kind of harp on the restore a little bit, it's air to ground weaponry sucks. Again, 1,000 of anything will kill anything. So 50 gunships will definitely kill stuff on the ground very quickly, regardless of what kind of gunship they are, maybe except jesters. Those might not count, but everything else might count. And with that, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game at the moment. And of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so very much for watching to this point in the video. I really do appreciate it. The next exciting thing in the West here is from Team 1's combined forces of Yoji and Deathlock. Yoji providing most of them, but still Deathlock providing his Percys and his Titans and some Cougars for some AA coverage. They're facing off against some Othams, and we see some Harbingers here for Team 1's Yoji. So really getting a nice little mix of units here from Team 1. There are a bunch of cruisers, and there are those rhinos from the east. There is a deceiver nearby. Definitely, again, messes with the radar signatures that Team 1 is getting. Unless vision comes into play, then doesn't really do anything. They would have to have cloaking to really make a difference. But those Percies are going to be forced back. Team 2 will gain a nice mass field from this. Maybe fund a chicken. Maybe fund a GC. No, well, they don't have Aeon, so no GCs. But they could find a monkey. I mean, there's 3 Cyberns on that team. They've lost one, but 3 Cybern players at one point. Looks like they're regrouping, but Mutulau is walking. Oh, that was. Ooh, thanks, says Mutulau. There he goes. I think that's thanks in reference to something else going on in his base, but he is killed off. Team 2 loses another player. It is a 5v3 in favor of Team 1. There is an experimental online, gets pinged. It is a monkey. This thing needs to be sent to the front lines immediately. Chicken was built. It looks like he was building it maybe in the water or something, or just in the base, and I didn't notice it. This would be huge. Had this chicken not be here, it would have just been a stomp taking out the T2 naval headquarters. That chicken, I mean, it's going to do a lot of damage. It did get a little bit of shield coverage, and Authams are going to move into assist. Harbingers are coming in to assist it with some Percies behind it. The chicken will most likely still... it's going to be close. We're sitting at 34,000. This is... the Harbingers are coming in, targeting the chicken. It might be enough damage to tip the scales, but no. The Authams and the chicken are able to kill off the Colossus before it kills off the chicken. And even if the chicken did die, it's on Team 2's doorstep, so the mass still goes to his coffers anyways. Move the chicken in. And never mind, says Mutulau. That is a nice attempt by Team 1 to push through. ASFs here from Team 2's air player of Jim Lazy go after the Restore Ball. And there are a lot of ASF here for Team 2. And those gunships are giving that ASF ball a run for their money. And those gunships trying to just consolidate in one tiny little ball. But there are a ton of ASFs online. They are being, like I said, chewed up. That is the one benefit of having Restores. It just takes a lot of shots to go after those gunships. And it looks like the ASFs are forced back. Team 1 will not necessarily win the air fight, but win a huge advantage, taking out a ton of ASFs from Team 2's air player. Wouldn't say that's a total victory in either direction, but I mean, when we're talking about restore counts, Psycho Ad, actually that's the wrong player, that's Judica. Judica sitting at 60 versus the ASF counts of Dreamer Lazy sitting at 103. So it's almost a 2-to-1 advantage, but the advantage, I still give it to Judica. Again, no one has air control or dominance, but Nuke is outbound from Team 1's Judica. And where is it going? It's going after Team 2's air player of Dreamer Lazy. Is the SMD online? Yes. Is it loaded? Also yes. Assuming Team 2 knows about the nuke. Yes, they do, so they were prepared for it. Love that play here from Team 2, getting to know what's on the other side of the map and using it to their advantage. Do have multiple SMD sites online, protecting multiple players. The only thing that isn't protected is this, which is some T3 Mechs, and that's realistically about it. And there is that SMD gonna fire, shoot down that nuke. Does Team 1 have another one in the clip? Because if they do, that'll be enough. It is half loaded to another one. I do see a land fight occurring once again. It's a monkey and a chicken versus a bunch of T3 units. Still going to favor Team 2 in that respect, even if the chicken dies or the monkey dies. The monkey is starting to be cheered up quite quickly here by those Percies, and there are more Percies joining the fight. The chicken has better range though, so he's able to fall back a little bit. Authams are killed off, but again, the 2 experimentals remain intact. Second chicken is coming online soon for Legend. Getting another chicken back here, probably just to spend mass. Most likely... Oh yeah, he's getting pretty full on his mass bar. He definitely needs to spend some of that. Probably should go for some more T3 Mexes would probably be a good idea. Or some mass storages. Maybe both, but at least some more T3 Mexes, because then he can offset the spending and still be raking in a ton of mass per second. Again, it's very fooled by the gunship sitting here. There's really not a lot of land here. There's one monkey, but it's also a bunch of bricks. We have a monkey. We have a decent amount of bangers in the mix. Look like cougars a little bit. And this position is not going to crack here for Rayla. And that's perfectly fine with Team 2, especially with Team 2 due to the fact that 2 players have 2 bases. So those ecos are definitely supercharged, 550 and 500. So both of the players with 2 bases at 500 mass apiece. And still, Team 1 is outproducing Team 2 now. It was the other way around a couple of minutes ago when I made the kind of announcement of how the game is going. Nuke outbound. Is it going to drop short going for something else? No, it's going to go for the air grid once again. Does Team 2 have another SMD loaded? No, they don't. Ooh, that's not going to feel good. Counter nuke online here for Drew Malaysia as well. But no, excuse me. That's a nuke outbound from Team 2's Eastern player of Rayla. So now another nuke. Nuke outbound for Team 1. Is this one? Okay, now it's launching here from Team 1. That one will land. That nuke outbound for Yoji's position. Is the SMD loaded? No, it's going to fall short. Going after the Omni. Going to kill off a decent amount of mass with this. Kaboom! Kills off how much mass exactly? 38,000. That's not too bad of a grouping of mass. Would have liked it to see all the way. Would have killed off Yoji, or at least most of his base. And is that nuke going to get shot down? I don't think so. It's half loaded. There isn't a secondary SMD nearby. That nuke is not going to feel good here for Team 2's airplay. Really going to favor things for Team 1, especially with that horde of gunship. And secondary airplay of Psychoad getting in the mix. So we have one producing gunships, one producing ASFs. That is a deadly combination here for Team 1. And there goes that nuke landing. Kaboom! Takes out all the air grid. Takes out 4 mexes and a bunch of mass extractors and storages as well. That is a huge blow to Team 2's eco. Drops him from over 500 to 340. That's a huge pay cut there. That is a 40% pay cut. Well, again, obviously, roughly. And the crab gets, actually, that's a monkey gets killed off by a monkey and crab from Team 1. Tons of bricks move in. Gunships moving in as well. That's going to be a slaughter on that crab. If all the gunships engage, it's kind of hard to get the gunships to circle the crab a lot. And you can see they kind of just build up. We do see a decent amount of flak moving in to assist as well. The monkey targeting the crab. Now the monkey's going to shift over to the bricks. And then switch over back to the megalith. Looks like it's having some troubles with target priorities or something. ASFs do move in, but it's not really going to go well for those ASFs there for Team 2. He needs to retreat those immediately. Team 1 gunships, Team 1 bombers inbound to try to go after all of these units. And now with the monkey and crab dead for Team 2's Rayla, that's it. These forces are dead and gone. Going after the flag first so they can take out any sort of nonsense from the ground. And those gunships are just ripping into those ASFs. Team 2 does have this chicken over here to the west. 1-star veterancy, that's probably the chicken that's been alive the longest. Actually, no, this one's been alive that's the longest, but 2-star veterancy sitting at 51,000 mass killed versus the 24,000. And again, now Team 2 dropping into 1.2k territory. That mass starting to really favor Team 1 right now. Donut is online. Another nuke outbound. This time it is from Rayla once again. Really pumping those nukes out. Where is this one going to? It's going to drop here. Unfortunately, it's going to be completely missed. The mass will be killed off. Which, I don't know if that counts as mass killed. I don't think so. I think it has to be like legitimate enemy structures, not just mass. We'll see. 38,000 once the nuke lands. It'll pop. It will not change. There are some engineers going to be delivered here immediately, but Rayla being like, no, you're not getting all that mass. Sorry, see you bye. Nuke will land. Kills off everything but the crab, but that only had 5,000 mass left. And the nuke, it does not count. There it is. If you kill off a reclaim, it does not count with your veterancy, which I guess would make sense because then you could easily just farm veterancy with units killed. You make a bunch of units, reclaim, control cam, and then kill them, destroy the mass with something else. Definitely one of those balancing issues that maybe somebody thought about, maybe somebody didn't, but at some point somebody probably tried to do it. Harbinger in the middle of these T3 mechs is going to get huge value out of it. We do see those missiles landing and going to be able to kill off the Harbinger, but 4 mexes are down, 2 of them at least T3. It really just, Team 2 is getting harassed by Team 1, both from nukes and from just units landing and moving around all the time. Mass down here, of course, mass down here. It's really starting to snip away at Team 2's eco, being able to delay their abilities to produce units and go for upgrades. Bombers over the top, going after the crab. Crab's going to take some damage, but I mean, not really that much though, considering it's T1 bombers versus T3 bombers. Those were T3 bombers. That thing would almost be dead with that many bombers, if it was 1-for-1. Don't see much of anything else going on here for Team 2. No artillery yet, and not secondary. New air grid starting here for Team 2's display of Dreamer Lazy. Secondary air grid in the east here for Rayla. Wants to assist in any way they can. And that nuke here for Team 2's Dreamer Lazy is almost loaded. Team 1, how are your SMDs? That one's most likely loaded, I would assume. Just barely is. This one is most definitely loaded. Actually, no, it's not loaded. Almost is. This one is loaded. And this one is loaded. This nuke up here, halfway to another one. 87,000 mass killed off with that one. I think the mass killed... no, still favoring Team 1. That nuke, if it does land in critical systems territory, which either would be this, which is going to be fine. This already has an SMD. Up here would be a nice position, taking out 4 T3 Mechs plus all the mass fabs. Donut over the top here. We saw a lot of donuts last game in that ladder match. And now we're seeing our first air experimental of the game at 30. Well, it was sooner than that, but at least in the middle of the map. But that's yeah, that's a lot of gunships. That's a lot. Just to kind of illustrate, that is a lot of gunships. And that's those chickens are gonna die. Sorry to say it. Those chickens are going to die. That is almost, I wouldn't say there's nothing unhealthy about it, but probably something unhealthy about that. I do like how these restorers are almost in squadrons. They're kind of like grouped together almost. Anyway, that donut is inbound, and those units are going to die. The donut has almost lost all of its shielding, though. And here comes the damage. Going after, I don't know what it's going after first. It's trying to pick its target. Those chickens kind of get underneath the surface of the water. Another chicken online. The donut not really feeling well. ASFs come in to try to, again, engage the ASFs here for Dreamer Lazy. Those ASFs will stop, giving a huge advantage to the restorers and, of course, the donut. A lot of those gunships are doing they're just doing tons of damage. You can see just all of the thousands of shots being fired, all those missiles raining in. And it looks like Team 2's Legendary is going to lose this position, but he will save a couple of chickens and a crab, so at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do. He brings in the gunships from the south, and all those restorers for Dreamer Lazy are dead and gone. The donut is killed off. Will land on top of a T2, actually T3 land facility, and the crab, so a little bit of a mass donation, but this position is not viable anymore, focused as are with the cruisers. And that did occur. The chickens did end up getting to safety, along with, again, the T2 land headquarters is still alive, so could have honestly probably should have killed that off. There was some AA being built. Of course, the cruisers were nearby, but I mean, that would have been a huge grab here, just denying the cruiser production here for Legend Lore. Don't care about the mass fabs. I wish I could remove that panel entirely. Another nuke outbound here for Team 1. It's out from Judica, going after something. Don't know what it's going after. Oh no. Okay, well, that's one big reason to just avoid going after it with the gunships, is you just go after it with the nuke. I mean, it's mass efficient. Might as well. We do see a crab v crab scenario, and that crab is going to die here from Dreamer Lazy. Monkey is online. Nuke outbound here from Team 2's Rayla, looking like they're trying to position the nuke to land where the experimentals are going, but they went east instead of west. That nuke is going to be wasted. The second nuke that, I mean, it hasn't killed off any units yet. It's still at 38,000 mass kill. We'll kill a little bit off. 42,000, but kaboom! All the engineers, at least most of them, are dead. The monkey is dead here for Team 1, and the monkey is still on here for Team 2's Rayla. The monkey will die, but at least I think the crab will die. We'll gain some veterancy from that kill. 5-star veterancy crab, 165,000 hit points, and all the bricks moving into range. Sorry, crab, you are DED. Look at that thing. It is dead and gone. Does kill some other units when it crashes, but again, the mass is on Team 2's doorstep. Team 2 sitting at 180,000 mass reclaimed. Team 1 at 131. And Psychoed is defeated by Dreamer Lazy. Looks like it was by some strap bombers. That will drop this game to a 4v3 in favor of Team 1, excuse me. That, why shoot the SMD, says Psychoed. I told you there were some... What's going on? Why shoot the SMD? But it gives Team 1's Judica another air grid. He has 2 air grids online now, which is huge. He's Aeon, so the transfer of units is really an issue. You don't have UEF, ASF, and Aeon ASFs to deal with. You can just play with just Aeon forces, and that is so many restorers. 150, 47 of them are bingo on field, to be fair. But 150 plus gunships online is insane. Nuke landing a little bit short, going to the east. SMD is online. It's not anymore. There it goes. One engineer makes it out of dodge. Kaboom! And Dreamer Lazy bringing it back with that nuke, just slowing down Team 1 ever so slightly. I think that was a nuke outbound from him, right? Possibly. It wasn't this one. No, it was definitely, yeah, it was definitely that one. And in the west, another attack outbound. 2 Colossi and a Bad Boy versus a chicken and a crab. The other 2 chickens are dead. And it's not really going to favor Team 2. Those chickens being dead definitely will deter Team 2 from at least keeping this position online. That nuke was killed off, it looks like, by this SMD, so it did not land, unfortunately, for Team 1. But I didn't like the attempt, of course. Going after some critical systems, of course. But didn't go after the main base because he knew that'd be covered anyways. It is hard in FAF to determine when is it worth it to go after the main base versus the the main production facilities or the fire base or whatever the case may be, because sometimes you can get the main base, but most of the time you're guaranteed to get the fire base. So is it worth the risk, and if so, how much are you losing out if the nuke does not land? Because if it's like, oh, I'm going to kill some defensive structures and maybe a couple facilities for the fire base versus killing off everything and hit my opponent's base, it's definitely worth it to go for the base. But if it's very similar in terms of what's there, I would take the safer bet just to kill something off, and then maybe you get enough mass killed off to where you can outproduce your opponent and build another one before they can load an SMD. And Crab versus Monkey, that fight only goes one way. Colossus moving into, they are both severely wounded. One of them is in the red. T2PD being spammed up as quickly as possible. Engineers being grabbed and suctioned off to those arms to be crushed to smithereens. And those lasers from the Colossi are better than the lasers from the Seraphim at PD. And missiles are landing in all the time. There's no destroyers online. This T2 naval headquarters is DED. It is DEAD. It is dead, 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 dead. There it goes. Great grab here by Team 1's Yoji, killing that production facility off. And, of course, Legend Lord is still in the water, so he himself is fine, but all of his everything else is just not feeling well. And in the northeast, Crab beat Crab. The Crab is in range of the Crab, but Team 1's isn't firing. I think it was a radar issue, possibly. And it looks like it was. The Crab from Team 2 moves in. And the absolute brick wall over here to the east, the Megalith actually transferring his targeting reticles onto the bricks, not going after the Crab, wanting to kill something off. I do agree with that, but it does open the door for Team 2 to keep that Crab a lot longer. Nothing really happening in the northern section of the map here for Team 1 or Team 2. All those gunships moving westward. I feel like there's a play to go entirely around the... Yep, that's exactly what's happening. Going all the way around the water and going for that main base. Tons of tons of engineering stations are being built. No AA is under production, at least not as of yet. Now it's going to be produced, but that's going to be a minute. Needs lots of flax or SAM, says Mutulau. Obviously noticing the threat that is inbound. Team 2 can see that, and they know it's coming, and they're not going to like it. Yeah, that is deadly. Team 2's column of Legend Lords like, I'm glad I'm in the water, because they would just annihilate me. Those restorers are inbound. They want a vengeance, and they are going to have something at least. They probably won't kill everything else. Something. What was that? Is that a Billy nuke? Somebody died. I didn't notice it. No, a nuke landed in the northwest. Kaboom! Wait, that even... That kind of looks like... Hold on, that looks like a Billy nuke. Oh, that is a Billy nuke. It's from Dreamer Lazy over there. Hey, look at that. He telebillied. He needs to get out of there, though. He's going to get spotted. He's not loading that Billy nuke very quickly. That's not going to feel good. Anyway, restorers just cleanse the water of everything they can target. Those cruisers are dead. Everything is dead. Get the chicken in the water. Get the chicken in the water. The Awasa bomber that's being built is destroyed. Dreamer Lazy trying to get out of dodge. Will he make it? I don't think so. If he does, it's going to be close. No, there's a lot of damage coming down. If he started when I mentioned it, he probably could have gotten out of there. Boom, he is dead. Team 2 loses another player. It is a 4v2 in favor of Team 1. Team 1 has double the amount of players that Team 2 does. And look at this cleansing on the western side here for those restorers. Nothing is safe. That chicken is fine for some reason, but everything else is not fine. I think some of those are... Well, they still have fuel. ASFs build up for that defense, but they're just going to let the ASFs come in and say hi. It's not going to feel good. All of those restorers now just bunch up to try to annoy the targeting systems on board those ASFs. I mean, there's still a lot of gunships, to be fair, left, and there's still a lot of ASFs as well, sitting at 40. Where'd the absolute horde go? Oh, I guess there's some over there again. But it looks like those restorers have been beaten back, but Legend Lord, not necessarily out of the match, but severely wounded. He's sitting at 269 mass per second, but his teammate of Rayla, 1.1k mass versus Judica's 800. And that is starting to be an unhealthy amount of strat bombers for Team 2. Lots of Team 1s as well, but that's starting to be an unhealthy amount of strats. And Team 1 is severely pushing the end game now. Not end game, but the the land game for the end game. There we go. Going after Mutala's old position. This thing is gone. There's no saving that. Omni's going to go down. SMDs will probably go down. Lots of T1 bombers sitting here waiting to engage. Going after the Colossus is probably the best idea. Need to call those gunships, not gunships, the bombers in immediately. Try to help. They do move in, but the restorers have moved out of the way for a little bit. Another attack in the north, outbound from Rayla. Rayla focusing heavily on the land game. Everybody else is focusing on the air game, or the land game a little bit, but Legend is no longer in that anymore. Artillery online for Team 1, and it's targeting the Nuke from Team 2. Nuke outbound here from Team 1's player of Judica, and another explosion. It's a Rascom. There are no Billy Nukes as of right now. Deathlock is the only player that can do that, and he's over here, and he does not have the capability, so we're fine on that. Chicken pops out of the water. Probably will not make that mistake again. Another nukes. Lots of nukes launching here for both teams. This one going after the land units. Nope. Gonna go for here. Nuke lands. It's a point defense nuke. Kills off a ton of bricks. That severely dampens the momentum that Team 2 was having. Of course, there's now 2 emissaries online for Team 1. That is not looking good here for Team 2 on the southeastern side. 2 emissaries with not really anything else to Team 2's name. Nuke is outbound. It's going to land on top of that. Fatboy. Fatboy is going to die from this. No hard feelings, Fatboy, says that Nuke. It wasn't personal, just business. There it goes. It's done and dusted. Those crabs are moving in. But there, of course, are a lot of restorers. A lot of them are bingo on fuel, so it takes them a while to move to their destinations. The crab's not going to divert northward, trying to take out anything and everything. The main target probably is going to be those artillery. And again, it's going to be a while. One of those megaliths already in the red, the other one in the yellow. Bricks coming in to assist. And they're going to be, again, eaten up by the horde of restorers. Another group of ASFs coming in to assist. But again, there's just so many hit points on board those restorers. Plus the ASF count needs to be at least 2.5 to 3 to 1, in my opinion, just to deal with all those restorers, especially in numbers like this. You know, the more restorers you get, the more ASF you need, more ASFs you need. You know, all that sort of thing. It costs energy, mass, and whatnot. And Crab has just been built, dealing with these Perseus, harassing Rayla's front line. But Galactic Colossus overhead being destroyed by those bombers, those strategic ones. The monkey has been completed. And those... No, looks like it's just going to let the monkey do with it. The laser does activate. Air facilities are done and dusted, but the Colossus is dead. The mass is gone as well. Nuke is loaded. Nuke over here is dead. I don't know, that's probably a destruction by some Perseus or something, or even some Titans probably. But going after the mass fabs and the Mechs here for Rayla. Team 2 again on 2 players left. Team 1 only has, well, not only, but has 4 of their players, only lost 1 of them. Bottom side has no build power to make XP. How was that front not dead so long? I mean, it looks like they got some assistance possibly. Team 1, I mean, they still have a couple of experimentals. Colossus over there, another Colossus back here. Yoji's just pumping out Colossi and everything else. I don't see any game enders started so far. Satellites have actually been started here for Deathlock, so going for that traditional UEF play. Getting a ton of mass fabs online as well. Air Grid, again, did take a hit a while back from that Billy Nuke, which Team 1 still hasn't realistically recovered from. But again, there's another Air Grid over here, so it's not that much of a loss that they're losing out on. And Restorers still running around. Still, 150 Restorers at one time is a ton. Looks like the SMDs are the ones that are being targeted. This one is going to die here pretty shortly. This one is still alive. Looks like the Restorer is going straight for it, at least in that direction. Team 2 needs some AA on immediately, and we do see that Alwasaw Bomber moving in. I don't know where it's going. It drove the Restorers away somehow. Strat soon says Psycho Ad. Looks like everything's transferred over to Legend Lore. Very, very interesting. Rayla making a play with their commander. Has Telemazer online. The main thing is going to be taking out both Judica and Deathlock. Those are probably the two most dangerous players at the current moment here for Team 2 to deal with. We can have some defensive measures here, of course, for Yellow, and of course the Colossus production facilities for Yoji. But the main two concerns that I have for Team 2 are the satellites being built and the artillery. There's some PD, and there's one Colossus sitting here, so best place to teleport in would probably be right here. It would give a little bit of time for the Telemazer to go after the artillery, go after the pigeons at least. There's not a lot of shielding here. It wouldn't take that long to chew through. But, looks like he is going to go into the water and then go for that teleportation. Team 2 has lost a ton of territory so far. Tons of mechs is down. SMD about to fall. Speaking of which, it is down. The only SMD remaining is the one over here, and it is loaded, so Team 1 can't use nukes in that area. Tons of Strat Bombers online. This could be a play where the Strat Bombers move in as well. There's not really that many ASFs, so the Gunships might be the only play. And Legend Lord just control Ks anyways. Try using Strats and GD next. Just leaving Team 2's Rayla alive. Looks like the ASFs have spotted the Gunships and need to turn those back. That's not going to be good. Tons of value going to be lost here. The Revenants do have some AA on board, but not enough to deal with that many ASFs at once. Essentially, all those ASFs one-shotting all of these. That's it. They're dead. There's no hope in coming back from that. Rayla, 50 minutes on the clock. Staring down the barrel of a decently sized gun here from Team 1. That essentially the Telemazer is their only hope. Going straight for that position on top of Judica's commander. In range of the PD. That's it. Game's over right here. Doesn't matter. Even if Judica dies, Rayla dies. It does not matter. There it is. Team 2 loses the game at 50 minutes and 55 seconds. Actually, 50 some odd seconds. 57 seconds. I don't know where Legend Lord. Maybe he had to go. Something. I don't see anything. Doesn't matter really. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Was you saw the writing on the wall. Essentially what had happened was needed to happen for Team 2 to possibly win this game is if Rayla came in, teleported in, killed off the artillery, either died or somehow stayed alive, teleported out, and then they went after the satellites. That would have given them enough time to build something in response down here, because they were sitting at a decent amount of mass income still. Of course, they had the land incursions to deal with at some point. But again, the long-range artillery was the thing really just nipping at their heels constantly. The satellites were barely overhead, so again, that was the target priority number 1. But I just think it started to collapse once Team 2 started to lose. They lost, I think it was Dreamer Lazy, over here. It was a good use of the teleability. Had he gotten out of there, maybe things would have been different. Would have had enough AP to be able to, APM, I should say, be able to just manage everything. But I think it was just too much was eroded away, and that was it. Let me know down in the comments who you would pick for MVP. I think I'm going to have to go to Judica just because of the absolute pain it was to deal with those restorers. And the ASFs from Team 2 just could not match. Even if Team 2 built enough ASFs to deal with them, Team 1 was constantly producing those restorers, and it didn't even matter. Yeah, they cost more, but still, that absolute horde of restorers is essentially what won the game for Team 1 on the ground game, and really just, you know, one thing after another, and that was it. Let me know down in the comments again who you would pick. But again, Judica 1972 Noob gets the win for me, and it does look like he did die, possibly. Yeah, it looks like that secondary explosion's right there. I can't see the commander anymore. The commander's over here, so I don't see the symbol anymore, so definitely died in that explosion is what it looks like. That still had a huge impact on this game. And let me know, again, how you felt about the game overall, the channel, my casting style, whatever the case may be. Please send me a comment down below. And of course, I will respond to it as I always do. Not necessarily immediately, but I will get to it. So your question, your comment will be responded to. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe, as always, and share this video with anyone, everyone, and especially your pets. And I will see all of you in the next one.